Who knows? Okay, stand
Probably.
by. Probably. What is up, Patreon crew? Welcome to the Patreon crew post show with our two fabulous guests, Yassine and Sally. I hope that this post show alone makes it worth it for you guys to stick around on Patreon into next month too. Now that we're at literally in the end of July here, but these two are fabulous guests, incredible humans, obviously very supportive of one another and of the community. So if you have questions for them, now is your chance to get those asked and answered. Whoa, those words. Wow, sentences.
You're doing great. You're doing great.
Happening. Difficult. So how we do this is if this is your first time in a Patreon crew post show, or if this is your 100th time, but you just want to know how to ask the questions, over the top of the video there, you can click the link and it will take you to the YouTube page. On the YouTube page is our live chat room. I see a lot of our, what's up, A2B2? I need to email you guys. We have lots of our Patreon crew there chatting away. So if you have a question, drop it in there. Yep. Kim is going to pull those aside, but Kim has already pulled
a
tons.
lot of questions.
So we like to just kind of try to get through as many as possible, and we'll let both our guests answer as many as they can.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions in the main show about, 1, did your shoes melt? 2, what shoes were you wearing?
Go ahead, Yassine.
My shoes did not melt. I wore an Innovate Park Claw, it's called. It's kind of hybrid shoe of road and trail. It's designed for kind of like hard packs, like gravel trails, and I figured I'd be running off the road a little bit, as I did, sleepwalking off the road and kind of running off the road a little bit. It was a great choice of shoe. It didn't melt, and my feet, like I said, also I didn't have too many problems with my feet. Only one pretty gnarly blister on my left, like metatarsal pad, but that was it. Yeah. Nice. How about you, Sally?
Okay, so no, shoes did not melt. I actually didn't hear of anyone at this race whose shoes melted. And sometimes I'm like, is that really like a myth, or is it that you have bad shoes?
Right.
I wear Nike and they don't melt. So here's the thing. I started with a road shoe. I started with a peg, and then they were trying to keep me cold so well that my feet became like sponges because I had so much water in my shoes and socks, which really didn't bother me that much because they did seem to dry. But then I was like, oh, I'll change them. So then I changed into Nike Wild Horse 4, and I wore that for the majority of the race, and then ended the race in the peg again. And I'll say that this is the first time ever in a race that I've changed shoes. I usually only wear one pair. I didn't have any black toenails or blisters or anything. In fact, I posted a picture of my feet. Still have the same nail polish on. Wow. It doesn't look like I ran. But that's how my feet are all the time. That's I don't know awesome. Why. I fly, I guess. I don't know.
Which Pegasus? Was it the new one, like the new prototype one that they just announced?
The 35, and then I also had the Turbo. It's the Pegasus Turbo. Have you tried that one, Ethan?
Not yet. I got to get Pat to send me one of them turbos.
Get Pat to do that, man.
Hey, Pat. He's not watching. Yeah, I've been curious about the new Peggies and the new Park Claws. Yeah, I saw those at a demo recently. They looked awesome. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah, a question from DM Hebner. DM asked, if you were to run this race again, would you change anything about your gear or your nutrition?
Personally, I wouldn't. I all my gear, I tested for months. So I really knew going in exactly what I was going to wear. Same with the shoes. I tested so many shoes. In fact, Nike had wanted me. They really were hoping I would do the whole race in the Nike 4%. And I was like, I tried like a 30-mile run in them, and like by the end, my Achilles was hurting. Those are just fast, quick shoes. For, those aren't really for shuffling 135 miles. So I wanted to keep my Achilles, so I didn't do the 4%. But it's one of my favorite shoes. It's amazing. But no, shoes were great. And then as far as my nutrition, it was the majority of it was Spring Energy, which is just real food. But even when I was incredibly nauseous and dry heaving, I was able to get that down. So really thankful for that. I'm a little jealous of the pizza story you've seen, because man, pizza sounds so good right now. And, and I see other people eating out there, but I could barely get anything down. So I was really grateful for the Spring, because that saved my race.
Yeah, you both do Spring, right?
Yeah, and I did the majority spring energy gels as well, and those were really working for me. I did a lot of fruit. I had pre-sliced pineapple, watermelon, cantaloupe, in like bins, and that was working really great. That's the frustrating thing for me is because I like Sally, I thought like everything was dialed. Like my gear was dialed, my nutrition was dialed, although my crew thought I was not eating enough. I was trying to tell them some of these gels are like 150 calories, you
Yeah.
know? So I'm eating at least a couple of those per hour, plus fruit and, chips. And I had pre-made some burritos and I had sushi rolls. I pre-made sushi
Yeah,
rolls.
so
Oh,
good.
man. Sushi
So
rolls with
good.
like amino acid spray, like the Bragg spray
Oh,
on it.
wow.
Oh, man. It
Good
was,
idea.
I was just popping those little ones in my mouth and with fruit
Good.
and tail
Did you
wag.
not go to the Whole Foods in Lone Pine, Sally?
Oh my gosh.
To get the
Ethan,
Bragg's
you've been there
aminos?
before. Yeah.
I know that
I
there's
don't-
not much.
I don't think I would do anything differently, really. I actually, from a gear or nutrition, I would not. From a race strategy, I would definitely do something different. I think I definitely started off too hard and did
Which
not,
is weird.
which is relative because it didn't feel like we were starting.
Slow.
Oh, I know. But like it took like 3 hours for the course record holder to catch me.
Wow.
That puts it in perspective. And he finished third. So I just think it's like, again, it's just skewed and you don't think I mean, it's so many 100-milers. You don't feel like you're starting hard. And then, 8 hours later, you're like, whoops, I started too hard,
Yeah.
Well, most people that have won and set records, it's been multiple attempts.
It's
So
such
you
a
gotta do
fine,
it
it's
again,
such a
you
fine
see.
line.
And in fact, all the course records it took them 2 or 3 times to do that.
Yeah.
No one just goes out there and sets the course record.
Yeah.
And I mean, now that
Although I'm excited to see who's going to jump in next year now.
Yeah.
I'm curious about
Who's up next?
Yeah, right. Kim and I are going for the records.
For the course records.
Yeah. I can't
well,
wait.
guys, sorry to break it to you.
Sorry to break it. We already have a strategy, and it's drive the whole thing. You see, just got it.
Yeah.
So funny. My wife said that. She's like, why don't you just have somebody drive you?
I don't even drive that far. I don't drive that far. What was I gonna say? I don't care. It was something about the cost. So I'm curious.
Oh God.
Yeah, there was people in the chat room asking
we're
about
not
that as well.
Live to the public. We're live to our Patreon supporters. So
Yeah.
it's not like sponsors or anything like that are
I'll
going to hear.
talk
But I'm just
about that
curious.
for a
Like,
sec.
yeah, how
Right?
much?
Okay, right, people. I was not raised with money at all, so money is very much ingrained in me as far as like the value of it, and like I think that's been one of the biggest things that actually turned me off about this race over the years.
Yeah, I think
because
so.
I was like, it's just not fair. Like you actually aren't letting the best runners run. You actually aren't allowing the people that so desire that are going to really like train and really people that want this on their bucket list, because it is seriously almost $10,000 to do this race. It's $1,500.
I didn't spend that much.
Well, when you add up everything, right? When you add up, like if you have
Sally was driving a gold van.
Was that you with those like spinner wheels?
So my thing is, like, if you're going to bring 5 people out to the desert and ask them to sacrifice everything,
Valid,
you pay for everything. So you pay for their travel and their gas and their food and their lodging and whatever else, gear, everything that is required. And then the rooms and stuff out there were so expensive. Like all the rooms that we needed were $2,000 just for the rooms.
Wow.
So but right off the bat, lodging and the entry fee is $3,500 right away. Now you're spending anywhere between $600 and $800 to rent a van. Then now you got to factor in the gas, and then you have to factor in everybody traveling in. What are they spending just to even arrive there?
Plus
and
supplies.
Now you got to put in the food. Like
yeah.
It's a lot. So maybe 10,000 a little bit high, but it's up there.
If it's a figure any like remotely, that's crazy. That's mind blowing.
It could be 6,000-7,000. I know when Josh did it, he said it was almost $10,000 for him to do it, but I don't know if what else he spent on. Now, thankfully, as a professional, like I have sponsors that paid for it. That's the only way that I could do it. I could never, especially with children, go and ask my husband, like, you cool with this? Like, you cool if we drop like our kids' college tuition, like their savings, or the chance of that, anything.
Right.
It's a huge commitment, and it's really interesting to me because a lot of the same people do this. I've done it many years. It's crazy.
That's what I see. Yeah.
Space, and you're like, oh, this is your 14th time doing it?
I know. It's crazy. Right.
Like, and they're not sponsored. Like, they don't have that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Like, they're not professional. They don't have the sponsors, and they come out here and spend all this money. And so you're just like, it's a very different group of runners.
Yeah.
I think Yassine and I, or maybe Zandy Mangold was there too. He's a trail runner too. But we were just talking like, it isn't your typical trail running scene. Like, it's a totally different scene of people. Like, I'm used to like walking in like pre-race meeting, you're like, what's up? You're like so stoked, talk to everyone, all the crews. But here it's like, this is my crew. Like, we wear our shirts and we stand over here, and like some people will kind of be friendly, but like you don't know. You're like, wait, can I talk to you? So like seeing Yassine and Zandy and like Shannon, like a few familiar faces, like so great because it's just a different.
Yeah.
Like people are so hardcore about this race and like they live for it and they go back year after year.
Wow. Yeah.
So,
definitely a cult, like a different cult following for sure. It's not a negative thing.
It's not negative at all. But I'd love for more people just to understand that this isn't like come one, come all trying like UTMB. I respect UTMB so much because it's like, if you have the points, like they let you race. So if you are elite, like that's why it's the most competitive race. That's why I think I love doing it. Cause I'm like, I want to be at the start line with as many people that are like badass as possible. I don't want to be at the start line with like maybe one person that I'm going to be competing with. Like you want a full like crowd of people. You want a good race and competition, right? And I'd love to see Badwater somehow figure out a way that, and it doesn't need to be like a bigger race, but to allow more people to do it. Financially, it's a big commitment.
So to answer the question about why is it so expensive, I think they listed on the website that all these reasons why it's so expensive.
Yeah, and it's pretty legit.
It's pretty. It makes sense. I mean, for permits and medical people, and
because it's dangerous.
It is dangerous.
You see officials the whole time. I mean, the police are out there, medical people are out the whole time. Like, they are really concerned about your safety on the road, and just, like Yassine's situation is no joke. No. You see people die in marathons every year. Right. And surprisingly, no one's died in the Badwater, thank goodness. Mm-hmm. But that's also why the application process is so extreme. They want to know if you've done all of these hard races, and if so, how did you finish? And do you really believe that you can do this? Do you realize how strenuous and difficult this is? So they take it seriously on their end, and you see it. It isn't hokey at all. Like there's a ton of support out there making sure that you stay alive.
That's good. I'll have to check out the cost breakdown thing. I didn't realize that the website had that. That'd be interesting to see, because I know it's an expensive registration alone, aside from all the additional fees. Tons of questions. Sorry, let's get to some of these. We'll rip through some of them.
Comment from Gypsy Hiker Monica says, and the jets flying over.
And they have to hire the jets.
I know. That was insane.
$200,000 to get the jets fly over. Oh, worth it. Pay for it.
That was good.
That was so cool.
Question from Darren in the chat room. Darren asks, what's the single best piece of advice for running in such extreme heat?
Darren has a race coming up in hot temps. I'm curious.
Okay. Yassine, you start.
I would say definitely, you don't realize how much you need to drink, and your body is working so much harder. All of your systems are working harder. You're losing more sweat. I think that was the thing that I ran into the problem was I was constantly wet, so I didn't realize how much sweat I was losing. It's like when you're swimming, when you're doing long distance swimming, you don't realize how much you're sweating because you're in the pool.
Right.
But you get dehydrated, and you need to replenish those electrolytes. You need to keep pumping in the fluid and keep your core body temperature down. And in a place like Death Valley or any other hot place for that matter, all your metabolic systems are just kind of, redlining. So starting early and eating fruit. I'm a big fan of fruit in these hot races because fruit have just natural phytonutrients and water in them. So if you can just eat them, you're getting calories, you're getting sugar, and you're getting hydration all in one.
Yeah.
That would be, yeah.
Sally?
I think it's definitely important to do some type of heat training. I really believe in, you don't even have to need to get in the sauna. Like one of my sponsors was an infrared sauna. So I would go in there quite a bit. It's different from like a sauna at your gym because it heats you from the inside and it's not as extreme. It's like 135, 155 as opposed to like 180. But you don't even need to like get all crazy in the sauna if you do. Just relax and do it. I think you need to be in the heat and feel it so that mentally you can work through things. I think people forget, like, I know people will go in the sauna and they're like running in place and you got to do push-ups. And now you got to do your dips. And like, and there's like 20 other people in there with you. Like, that's weird. It's like, you don't need to put yourself in that situation.
Right.
Like,
I didn't do any of that either.
You're not ever going to do that in life. You won't go somewhere that's 180 degrees and do push-ups. Like, so what you need to do is like
don't challenge us.
I don't know you two. You have a couple things up your sleeve.
New video coming.
No, but I think you need to like go in and drink your electrolytes. Like how are you responding sitting in that heat? Like eat food. How are you doing? How does that taste? Like, and just sit there and let your mind also embrace that. Like, okay, this is what hot feels like. Can I even sit in this, let alone run in it for 10, 12, 15, 20 hours?
Right.
And do that a couple times, like a week. And then the closer you get to the race, maybe do a little bit more, but get out in layers, like put some layers on. I feel like that is probably one of the powerful things is running in layers. Like, because it's more true. That's actually what you're doing. You're running uncomfortable. Your body's heating up. You can't get rid of it, so keep the layers on. And, that's what you're doing in the race. You're running, feeling hot and uncomfortable, and it helps you mentally become tougher and just kind of feel what that's going to be like. But one thing I would advise against is doing too much heat training. And I think that it's where athletes like really screw up because they're like, all right, I'm doing a heat race. Like every day is heat training day, and it should not be because it
exactly.
As to your system, it absolutely pulverizes your
Leads
system.
you.
Yeah. So like when you do it, you have to make sure you immediately are on top of your hydration. That was why I was so big on liquid IV because it's one packet is like drinking 4 glasses of water. So it's like you hydrate immediately after. That next day should be an easy day or just a full-blown day. You have to respect it. And if you live in an area that's like relatively cold, you're not getting extreme heat, then try to get as close to like the race as you can. And if you can be in it for anywhere between 8 and 12 days, just being there, like you're actually going to acclimate, like you're going to get a huge benefit. So you don't stress out as much. And then just make sure you stop 3 to 4 days before the race. Let your body fully get back, recovered and hydrated and feeling good. You don't want to show up to the start line feeling exhausted from your heat training. You won't make it to the finish. It's pretty dangerous.
Advice. Yeah.
That's
I agree
great
with
advice.
that.
Yeah, that'll be great for Darren.
Lots of good advice. So
let's get to maybe one more question. What we got then?
Question from Chris in the chat room. Chris asked, what was the most unexpected thing about racing in bad water conditions?
You seen?
One of the most unexpected thing, probably those fighter jets. No.
Traumatized.
Yeah.
You're gonna
They found me. They found me.
Honestly, I did a lot of research. As Sally has said, and as we all do as competitive athletes, we obsess. If we get into something, I want to learn as much as I can. I literally have watched every YouTube video. There's like
how many times? Like each one 2 times or 3
oh
times?
yeah, totally,
over and over.
absolutely. And so I want to see, and I would purposely look at the videos. I would pause it. What are they wearing?
Me too.
Exactly. Like
what?
Science
journals.
Anybody wearing camelbacks?
Journals on heat training.
Is anybody wearing camelbacks? No. Like everybody's carrying bottles. So I really, I felt like I prepared myself for the race. It's kind of like when you are telling somebody about their first 100-miler or their first ultra. You can tell them all about it, but or like a woman having childbirth, right? You can tell them all about what labor is going to be like, but until they go through labor, they don't know what it's like. And it's the same thing with the heat. I prepared in every other way, but I never knew what the Death Valley heat was like until I actually got down there at the day before the race, and we went to the Badwater Basin. And then when I got to the start line, so that, and I've been to Morocco and to Marrakesh, and where it was like 115, 120. I wasn't running. I was like 21, I was like, and a whole different frame of mind. But I think just that really surprised me. That it was like unexpectedly so much hotter and oppressive and inhospitable than I had imagined. And like I said, I thought it was going to get down in the 90s overnight and never cool down. So that was one thing for me.
Inhospitable. That's a great word. It's
it is a good word.
Nothing should exist there. Yeah, that's a good word. Sally, what about you? Most surprising thing?
The most surprising thing was the start. Really, it was the first 30 miles. Like thinking like, this is so great. Like I'm having the best day ever. Like, and not only that, like I genuinely only felt hot a couple times in the race. I'm truly, wow. I felt great the whole time. Like I wasn't like, oh my gosh, this heat, it's suffocating. I can't get through this. Like never felt like that. When it was like 125, there was a couple times I needed sunscreen on my legs, and I was waiting for it. And while I was waiting for it, my legs felt like they were on fire. It was like, wow. Oh my gosh, you just feel the heat coming up. But
yes,
but I think just being surprised at, I thought like if I was going to get heat exhaustion that I would know it was happening, or that I would like be able to feel it coming on, or recognize that it was happening, or I would feel hot. Like I just thought that it would be different than that. It was like my crew identified it before me. They're like, oh my gosh, you're on fire. Like, and then it was all the other symptoms. They're like, dude, like you have really bad heat exhaustion. And I was like, I'm fine. So yeah.
Wow. I can't thank you guys enough for taking the time out tonight. Man. This was a nice extended episode. Thank you all Patreon supporters. All of you. Every single one of you. Obviously except for that one. But honestly, thank you, Patreon supporters, for allowing us to do this. We get to hear stories that continually blow our minds, and tonight's no exception. Our two wonderful guests, Yassine and Sally, they're great humans. And if you have residual questions, I know many of you do. Kim has pulled so many of your questions aside. Reach out to them individually. Yassine is at Yassine Daboon on all social networks, and Sally is at Sally McRae on Twitter and at Yellow. Is it the Yellow Runner or just Yellow Runner?
Yellow Runner.
Yeah, just Yellow Runner on Instagram. Sally did get the question a lot about running Barkley. I know that someone asked that earlier. Great answers on your Instagram story, Sally. Yeah. So when you run Barkley next year,
anybody doing it. No offense to anybody doing it whatsoever.
We've already registered you, Sally. So
yeah,
it seems like you're so excited for it. Oh wait, I'm gonna go to full screen here. Give me 1 second, everybody. There we go. Okay, so this is the GR Crew. The color is terrible on this camera.
Really blown out.
Yeah, it's really blown out. But trust me, the colors are exactly how the previous post looks. But this is the GR Crew head wrap. This is for you only. This is the Patreon crew only, or the GR Crew. So yeah, it'll fold up nicely, go around the neck, go around the head. You can use it if you're running bad water. You can use it to dip into ice cold water and keep yourself cool and all that good stuff. But this will be available to you only in probably, I think it's 2 weeks, because we're going to do GR registration first, and then because we can't do them simultaneously, unfortunately, because shipping gets all sorts of messed up. But keep your eyes peeled. You'll be the first to know when they go on sale.
You gotta show them this part.
And just so everyone continues.
The best part.
I know, the best part. This, all the proceeds from the head wraps go to, that's Gus's actual paw. It's out of focus. But that's Gus's actual paw print.
Oh, nice. Oh, that's great.
That is so precious.
All the proceeds go to basically pay for Gus's surgery, because it was more than bad water. And
accurate.
I think rather than do one of those GoFundMe's, which we understand when people have to do those sort of things, but at the same point we're like, we're not doing that. We're giving cool stuff away. So we'll Patreon crew, obviously these will be at a major discount for you guys, if not free. But the other ones, the 2 other designs, will be available to the public. And so just spread the word. So when these become available, you'll be able to snag them, but then also spread the word. So we basically ordered enough to cover the cost of the surgery, and that'll be that.
Oh, awesome. It's a great idea, guys.
I love that.
And hopefully we'll make people look cooler. That's always the goal. Thank you so much, Yassine and Sally, for taking the time out.
Good to see you, Kim and Ethan.
Yeah, you too, man. And you too, Sally. I'm so proud of both of you.
Yeah.
And to know both of you. Please go back to your families, give them all the love from us, and enjoy the desert again,
Go
Sally.
back to your families.
No, it's so ridiculous. Like, so ridiculous.
And Yassine, I think we'll see you.
Yeah, we'll be coming down your way
in like a week for the wedding.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait to see you guys.
Yeah.
Jen's wedding in a couple weeks.
Yeah. And I think we are potentially bringing Gus. We're still talking about it. We're trying to figure it out. Hopefully we do. Okay. So Patreon crew, that's it. Thank you so much, guys. Get out there, train hard, race hard, part of the hardest. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks for the support.
All right.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.